Hi, everybody. Thanks for still being here. My name is Mike O'Hanlon. I met a lot of you. I'm the VP of Business Development for Wayfair, and I run partnerships of various types and shapes. So I'm just here for 15 minutes to talk about some of them, and I'm available on email or whatever afterwards to chat about any of them in more detail. Quick background on Wayfair. We've been around for 13 years. We rebranded 4 years ago, so we're sort of a new brand. Growing pretty rapidly. We did about $2 billion in sales last year, and we're growing at 50 to 70%. That rebrand process was also part of a process where we went from selling 300 different websites, consolidated down to 5. So we incurred a lot of SEO and SEM pain going through that transition, but now folks can find our whole assortment in one place. And we also have a lot more SEO credibility because of all the traffic kind of being consolidated instead of spread out. So painful transition 4 years ago. Now we're kind of coming out the other end. Our core strategy is to become the online leading destination for anyone interested in their home. If you think about every online category, over time there tends to be a winner or 2 or 3 that takes most of the market share, and that's really our goal in the home space. Right now the home space is extremely fragmented. Every city in America has 2 or 3 regional retail stores that everyone in that town or city knows really well, but they tend to be a different 2 or 3 in the next city. So very fragmented offline. And then online, it's a huge market. It's a huge market overall. It's about 8% online right now. That number is growing at about 18% a year. So super exciting space. But online, if you ask 100 women between the ages of 30 and 65 where they go to shop online, you'll get maybe 30 different answers. So a lot of opportunity to kind of coalesce mindshare around a brand, and that's really our number one goal. And hopefully I'll show that these partnerships reflect that goal, and we try to keep our eye on that prize and not spend a lot of time on things that aren't aligned with that number one goal. I've bucketed some of these partnerships into kind of why we're doing them. Number one thing is trust. We are essentially a brand new brand, and the nice thing there is it's a clean slate. You can kind of build it the way you want to build it. So very early on, in introducing Wayfair, we really wanted to seek out partners that could give us more credibility and instill a level of trust. One of our first ones that we worked with and continue to work with was Sherwin-Williams. Sherwin-Williams has been around for 120 years, Midwest traditional mass brand, but slightly affluent. It's really good paint, and people know that, and they're a very trusted brand. We met them at a conference like this, actually, and really got to know them and talking about who our customer was and who their customer was. We're really, really well aligned. They did some research on their own and determined that someone who makes a large furniture purchase is there's a 70% chance they're going to paint that room in the next 6 months. And so they said, hey, let's partner. And we said, yeah, that sounds good, right? So right now they're our number one color partner, or they're our color partner, right? So anywhere on our site where color is an important part of the shopping experience, we try to introduce Sherwin-Williams in thoughtful ways. A little bit of it is, hey, I love that couch, but I also love the paint on the wall in that image, right? So what is that paint? You know, we'll tag that wall and let you discover what Sherwin-Williams paint was used to paint that wall. We also kind of lower down in the funnel for them. We introduce a coupon in relevant areas where we're driving folks to a Sherwin-Williams store and giving them some value. It's $15 off a purchase of $60 or more. So good for our customers, good for Sherwin-Williams, great fit, and importantly, it enhances the shopping experience, does not distract from it. And we say that we thought it would, and then we tested, and it does indeed drive conversion. And what's interesting is if you're new to Wayfair, it helps us even more. So if you don't know Wayfair already, you're a new customer to us or a new visitor to us, we see the lift in introducing kind of the Sherwin-Williams brand we get a little bit of more of that halo effect rather than if you already know us and trust us. So good stuff. Context is another goal. We have 7 million items on our site, and we give you great tools to sift through those items, search, navigation. But we've partnered with shelter magazines to give further context to what you're shopping. If you are, is it left? Yeah, if you're left brain, you kind of know what you want, or you can use the search tools that we provide, and you can get to a pretty specific list of products. But not everyone kind of wants that type of experience or thinks that way. If you have an affinity to a shelter magazine that we've partnered with, Coastal Living, Real Simple, Country Living, Sunset, et cetera, what we've done is we've provided shoppable boutiques around that aesthetic. So if the editor of Real Simple says, hey, here's 20 ways to make your kitchen more organized, and we've curated this shoppable experience around it, that's a really compelling way to kind of make sense of our catalog. And so we're always looking for ways to kind of make our experience more shoppable. It's probably our number one complaint in customer feedback is they're overwhelmed, right? And so this context that these partners provide us has been really helpful. Another bucket is just good old-fashioned partnerships that drive revenue or drive customer growth or frequency of visit, all the good metrics that we all care about. A few different categories for us is co-marketing partners. These are folks that, frankly, I meet some of these people at conferences like the ones we're at now, where, gee, I'm not sure how we can work together, but there ought to be a way. You have a great list of customers. We have a great list of customers. I think there's overlap. People who have an affinity towards us might have affinity towards you, et cetera. What can we do together? So these two companies are examples where we've done co-marketing sweepstakes, where in the case of Trulia, last fall, they gave away a house. We gave away all the furnishings in the house. The sweepstakes lived on our site as well as on their site. We thought of clever ways to drive engagement. Trulia had a system where you had to look for clues every week and find the clue on their site and then enter that into the entrance form. One of the key KPIs here was to drive emails, which we both were able to use thereafter to market. And we got about 100,000 additions onto our email list. And then it's just driving excitement, right? So it's something to talk to our customers about. Apartment Therapy, which is a media company, right? But very similar audiences, home enthusiasts, in that case, tends to be more urban. We did a similar sweepstakes. We did a lot of joint PR. Their founder and one of our senior executives went on a road show where Apartment Therapy's CEO was introducing a book he had written, and our executive was talking about the importance of interior design. And so it was a really neat collaboration that had both online and kind of real-world manifestations. We work with marketplace partners, so these happen to be three of them. We work with about 9 total. This is where we're selling our product on their site, so kind of tried and true model where we do it basically for revenue growth and to introduce our brand to customers maybe that wouldn't find us otherwise. And then lastly, we have a bunch of media partners. We're a retailer, we're a brand, but we're also a publisher of sorts. So as we introduce more and more content on our site, we're realizing that we can leverage that audience and kind of exist as a publisher and let the Boses and the Sonys and the Kohlers and the LGs of the world influence our audience with their brand messaging. So that comes in the form of sponsored content, some ad blocks on one end, and then some interesting integrations on the end. And some of those brands we sell and some, in the case of the consumer electronics guys, we do not. But they still love our demographic and our audience. Leaning forward, great media, loves their home, has some discretionary income. And then lastly, we're trying to If you think about our purchase funnel, our conversion rate is 1 to 2%. So we're trying to actually lower that by getting people to come to us, not when they're just in buy mode, but come when they want to just explore beautiful imagery or learn more about their home or engage with interesting articles. So we're infusing our site with more and more content to get that frequency of visit up, which eventually we hope will increase frequency of purchase. People are not shopping for their home every day, unlike perhaps going to Amazon where you're kind of buying consumables or maybe you're buying a book once a week or so. Right now, our purchase frequency is about 1.6 times per year. So if we get people to the site more, we hope that eventually that 1.6 could grow to 2 or 3, and that obviously would be a huge boost for our growth. So partnerships around content include several layers of what we call influencers is kind of a buzzword these days, but we have several, call them blogger designer networks. We've built them for several reasons. One was for SEO, so we have about 350 people that write about us frequently. They link to us and they give us a lot of good SEO credibility. We kind of make that system work by periodically sending them free products, and there's a little bit of quid pro quo in that department. We also have kind of more higher powered bloggers that are managed by our PR team, and that's a more selective bunch. And there we're really trying to get important company events, important product introductions kind of pumped through that system. And then we have an influencer network or portions of both of that we use with our brand partners. Right now, working with Kohler came to us and said, hey, we'd love to plug into that influencer network and get some of our messaging out. We are having 2 interior designers write about redoing their bathrooms, right? And so it's a before, during, and after content series that lives on the interior designer's website, gets pushed out via their social, and also lives on our site. So Kohler loves it because Kohler can toot their own horn, or we can toot Kohler's horn. That sounds weird, but in this case, it's yet again a third party who's kind of pushing out the message, which they really valued. We like it because Kohler's paying us, and it's great content for our site. So again, getting people to come to our site and engage with this content, even when they aren't absolutely in buy mode, is really valuable to us. So some examples there. So kind of in conclusion, the takeaways is whenever I assess a potential partnership, it's not enough to say, hey, what's in it for me, or us, Wayfair, but what's in it for the other guy, and just make sure, like, does this really make sense? Are they going to be happy? Are they going to want to do it again? Is it an equitable quid pro quo? We like to try things that are easy, right? So like the very first sweepstake we did was small and simple and not a big resource drain, but it worked. And the emails that we got were indeed valuable, and they weren't real junky. And we kind of came up with a framework to kind of assess future partners. And then we did a much bigger one, right? And that's kind of how we work. We like to do a lot of things. They don't all work, but we like to rapidly fail and then scale the ones that do make sense. And then lastly is say no. Like we say no to a lot of things. We get approached as our profile kind of grows. We get approached a lot by potential partners, and there's not enough hours in the day to do them all. So we say no a lot and try to pick ones that really align and make sense. And that's all I got. Any questions?
So we have some mic runners.
Bridget, anything? I cannot, but do we have a volunteer to sing the commercial? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.